Hello, welcome to Spotlight on Gmtv, where we spotlight, as the name sounds, people in different walks of life and how they are also faring in the Christian faith, right? And then we know we always have to bring a balance in life and also teach people how to, of course, take the priestly garment outside into the secular world. Well, yes, my name is Mira, and we'll be spotlighting somebody so amazing, somebody that is not new to the camera, somebody that we see on the screen, somebody that also will be bringing a part of his life that most of you might not have known. Before I unveil him, I'm going to be introducing my co-host, Irene. Hello to the camera.
Hello, Mira. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching. My name is Irene William, and it's good to be here.
If I pose the question, who in the art industry his name is Nze Diego, would you probably guess right? Well, your guess is as good as mine, because today in the house we have Stanley Ebuka Nze Diego. I hope I got that right.
Wow, I'm not even sure the last time someone called me that. It just felt like I went back to my village. Yeah, but that's correct.
How does it feel to like to be in the studio today?
Really good, quite cozy, and glad to be here. Absolutely.
All right, so we will be going back into your life, and
Okay.
We understand that you are in the art and entertainment industry, but you also play a role that taking it the ministry way is ministry, right? So put us through the journey of you getting into what you do today. Also understanding that you studied something entirely different from what you do. So how were you able to blend the both?
So for study's sake, I just went to school, to be honest. I remember vividly, like, because I wanted to act before I went to school, I was literally looking for a course that would let me act. So the medicines were out of the way. In fact, I had my cousin telling a story someday, and she was like, my cousin was studying medicine at the time at the University, and she had said that, her course mate, they were all doing like in year one, and she has realized that some of her hostel mates had like so much free time. They had like plenty lecture free days, whereas they didn't have any. I'm like, please, what course is that person studying? And she said computer science. I said, that's my course.
Wow.
And that's how I decided to study computer science. But yeah, that, by the way, I just from when I finished from secondary school, I've just always been passionate about the arts and acting. I wasn't sure how to go about it because I didn't know anybody in the industry, and I started from church. I was at a campus fellowship then, where it's called Champions Theatre. The name of it, the group was Champions Theatre, and every single time we ministered on Sunday, people will always just come and say, "Wow, you're really good. There's just something about your acting. It is so good. Are you sure you don't want to do this professionally?" And I'm like, okay, maybe I should really take this thing seriously. And that's how I started. Started going for auditions. Got my first gig, one thing led to another, and here we are today.
Okay. So what did it feel like when you eventually got the very first gig? What year was it when you got the very first gig, and what did you do differently after that?
So it was 2009 that I got my first role. So I started auditioning for films in 2006. I got the first role in 2006, but I couldn't act in it because I was in school. So by the time they needed me to act, I auditioned in Lagos. I was back to Nnamdi University. And it was funny that I kept calling them before I left. How far, when are we shooting this film? Why are we shooting this film? Because prior to that time, the hunger, I had a hunger. So eventually they called me. I was already in school, and they said I had to be on set the next day. I couldn't make it to Lagos the next day because maybe if I knew what I knew now, maybe I would have just entered the night bus or just don't even tell them I'm not around. I just make sure I showed up. So I eventually called the production manager and told him I will not be able to make it to set by 8 a.m. Please, can I come by 12:01? Thinking that if I enter the very first bus to Lagos, I would make it. And that's the last time he called me. I didn't hear anything from them. Yeah, it was heartbreaking because I just wanted to have something to say, I am an actor professionally. I kept auditioning. Nothing happened until I was on IT 2009. I was doing my industrial training in Lagos, so I had ample time. And that's also say that education is important. You want to, do that primarily and focus and get that out of the way so that you don't have time to do the things that you truly want to do. So if you find a way to balance it, and but it was hard for me because I was trying sets, but it didn't just work. So I think God was deliberately waiting for me to finish school before he launched, because I would have probably just dropped out and said, oh, this is the acting. But God needed that too to create a refined actor. So 2009, got my first role on TV. It's called Private Sector. That's a plenty auditions. It was a small role, but it was a breakthrough for me because finally I was on TV and I could tell people I'm not just an actor from mouth or just from stage. There was just something. There was something to show, and then one thing led to the other, and today we're here.
So you've been acting from 2009
professionally till date. Yeah.
Okay. So what struggles did you go through? Because there's so many persons who are in this industry, they've not gotten their big break, and some feel like, I'm tired, I've gone for auditions and everything. Are there some struggles you went through before you even had that big break?
Absolutely. So I went for a lot of auditions. I did a lot of 1 scenes, 2 scenes, just that regular bad guy on Tinsel, just, 10,000 per day payroll. I got to a point where I was tired of the norm. I was tired to just be that ordinary guy on TV. I was tired of being the extra, being the 1 scene guy. And I was tired of auditioning because I went to a lot of auditions. I kept going for auditions, and you can do 200 auditions and you get 1 call. At the point I said, this thing, why they chase? Why am I running from pillar to post? Can I even just take a break and serve God?
Wow.
And that's how I joined the choir. Before I was busy every time, because Saturdays you always be going for auditions. Yeah. And Saturdays I'm always at an audition. I don't have time for choir rehearsal. I said, okay, I'll still be going for these auditions, but I will make sure that I give God my premium time and let how the secret, the kingdom of God and every other thing will be added. I joined the choir at the University Keja at the time, Gmtv choir. And I was dedicated. Sometimes, and it's so funny that from that choir, I'll be in rehearsals, my phone will start ringing. Somebody recommended you for a job.
Wow.
And it never happened. It used to just be that you must audition, and you get 1 scene, 2 scenes. But when I said, you know what? I've been chasing this thing and it's happening in trickles. How about I just really focus and serve God and make something out of my life? And that was when this acting thing started chasing me.
Wow.
Frankly, and
so that means service to God is something that actually
absolutely
creates opportunities.
And it has to. So, and for me, I was not doing it that if I serve now, God has to give me a job. I was like,
you were committed.
I've been going for auditions, nothing happened. Perhaps I should just use my time and serve God. And it was in the place of service that I started getting recommendations.
Wow.
So in that place, I'll get directions. I'll get, from there, I made my first film. I made my first film in 2015 as a producer, and from there I've just been, grinding.
Wow, that's profound. So as a Christian in the industry, how do you stay on track? Because you said, you went into service, you were in choir and everything, and yes, you were collecting the acting roles and everything, but the whole industry, how saturated it is, moral values and all of that. As a Christian, how do you stay on track and still deliver excellence in whatever role you're playing?
So I always make it a point of duty to feed on the right thing. And feeding on the right thing, show up in church, you will hear the word of God, do your devotion, God will speak to you. There's camp meeting, clear your schedule to be there, because it's not the easiest thing to do. I had to say no to a film to be in camp meeting, and I know the spiritual value and edification it gives to me. So I'm not going to trade it for anything. Is it a walk on the park? No, it's tough. And some of the scripts are probably very juicy, but I don't even need to read it, because I've said, if you want to walk with me, you would have to wait till Tuesday, because I'm not available, because I understand how important this is. Sundays, I have to appear in church, because I know, except I'm out of town, I know how important that is. And sometimes we can lose sight of, the entire vision and go, because it's like, oh, you're just busy. Things are happening for you now. But that's the way the devil steals you.
Yes.
I can afford to be online and just do service online, but I know how important it is to even, commune with the brethren and feel people's energy, and it's not the same thing. And I think that's one of the dangers that COVID brought. Yeah, a lot of people are online, and a lot of people have got, but there are people too that have been online that where in physical services that have now taken the backseat and they just wake up casually and know there's still a place of seeking and yearning and being hungry for transformation, and that hunger is what God finds and feels.
Yes.
So you cannot replace it. So, and God knows you cannot cheat God, you cannot lie to God. It's a thing of your heart. The P was talking about the worship that is with the language of the heart. You cannot deceive God. If you're genuine, even you
Yes.
when it's not real, when it's lip service. When I say I love you, Lord, do you really love the Lord?
Yeah.
So those are the measures I put in place to make sure that I still have and safeguard. Because when I was nothing, I would always come here, and I know one of the things I told God is, no matter how high you take me, I want to always remember you and constantly worship in spirit and in truth. And that's, for me, it's more important to me that I feel like it is to God, because I need it. I'm the one that needs it.
Wow. I like the tips you've given. But let's talk about competition for a bit. This industry is very competitive.
It is.
As a Christian and someone who's, who wants to be on that right track, there are times when, let's talk about awards. You want to give awards to certain persons in the industry, or maybe roles, and you go for the audition, you got casted with someone on the other side, and it has to be me that will get this, and they don't even pick you, or awards they don't even give you. How do you stay in the place of patience and know that this will still pay forward? I will get there. Because some persons, I was talking with somebody who is also in the entertainment industry and also acting, and he was sharing his struggles with me in this light, and he's like, why? They have their cabal, they keep picking their people, and you're a believer, you're like waiting for that, that time when they will choose you. How? Because I saw you get awards, AMVC and all of that. How do you stay in that place of patience and know that this will still find you? So
I'm living it. I'm literally living it. If I haven't won the AMVCs, you'll be like, he's just talking it. I'm living the testimony. There's no discrimination when it comes to excellence. You can't say because you're in church, you do this role shabbily, or you do it half-baked, and you expect because you're a God. There's a place of grace, right? But there's a place of great work.
Yes.
The way Impa puts it is that it is an act of service. It's an act of worship to God. The way I act my films, the way I bring my characters to life, I don't expect, the goal is that nobody in Africa will be able to deliver a character the way I would deliver it.
Wow.
As a child of God.
Wow.
It's understandable when it's a role I cannot afford to play because of my faith. There are roles I cannot be the one bringing to life. But bet you, if you put me side by side, the people in the world, I would do it better than anybody. And that's the mentality.
Yes.
So it's not enough to say I want to be an award winner. It's not enough to say I want the AMVCAs. Have you paid the price? Have you put in the work? Aside from praying and yearning from those roles, more so, there are roles that are specifically designed to put you on the global stage, to put you on the map, to put you on that stage. Have you even prayed to be in those sort of films, to work? Some people say, I cannot be in this kind of film. I cannot. Well, the kind of films you're doing, I don't have excellence enough to be recognized, to be awarded. So we also need to understand that we're, the way someone put it during one of the breakout sessions is that we're in an industry of wolves. We are sheep, but we would look like wolves to be in this sort of industry. And now as sheep start to change. And that's a secret. Maybe, I don't know if this one is censored, but yeah, that's what it is. So there's a big role for excellence. There's a big role for even be auditioning for those kind of films, for the films that would bring you in the limelight. More so, you don't have to be in every film. More so, because there can be a place for, I'm a gospel actor, I'm not a secular actor. There's a place for that. Yes. You also need to understand there's more to life than just physical awards. Whenever I'm in a film, the greatest award I get is the fact that you watch it and you come to tell me, Stan, that's such an amazing performance. Mira says, I felt it. There's something about the role. Yeah, it might not have been a gospel film, but there was something about it that you took. Maybe how to start a business. You took a value. You took, the excellence in the film. It's something. And that's, for me, it's the biggest award I can win for the film. the one that is physical is secondary.
Awesome. Wow.
Okay, so just around here,
Yeah.
bringing a balance to it.
Okay.
Right? You mentioned that you understood your call also in terms of ministry to be in the choir. Because I know a lot of us struggle, a lot of people struggle. To balance life. Oh, I want to do this and I want to do this. I want to be in the movie industry, but it looks too secular. How do I also balance it off with church? And at what point did you realize that you could combine the both of them and still be the difference in either of the words?
So I was listening to Pastor Hugo's interview, and he said our journeys are different. If I tell you that I figured it all out, I'll be lying.
Yes.
It's one step at a time.
Sure.
God says, do not do this film, you drop it. Do this one. Oh, they say I should kiss. How would you do it? How would you say not to? You know, we all have this rule. Sometimes I come to the altar and say, I'm not going to kiss again. There are certain roles that I need to make believable in a certain way. So you have to be able to trust your gods and trust God, the God living on your inside, to speak to you and teach you. So I'm not going to come and tell you now, this is the kind of film you should act, this is how you should not act it. It's your career.
Yes.
However, there's someone that is in charge of the life you always need to consult while you make those decisions. And as you do that, he will lead you every step of the way.
Okay, so we see a lot of trends going on, and then, meeting your personality off the social media and off the camera and all of that. You seem a very humble person. How do you, with the whole fame, still attain humility?
So I hope that this testimony would go from you seem like a very humble person to you are a humble person. Because that's what I want it to be.
Yes.
And like I said here before, that when I was starting, I always remember, it's so vivid, I told God, no matter how high you take me, I want to always remember. So anytime I feel like bragging during worship, I remember that word and I go back to it. However, I had role models in Dominion City. PCJ used to be my pastor, Pastor Chikodi Chineme, and I have not seen a man that is as humble. People that I've worked with so closely as PCJ. You know, he's such a big pastor, but he's such a, small pastor. I don't know if you get what I mean. And I looked at him even before I grew and I said, God, whatever you have given to this man, whatever you gave him is something I want to carry. And I know that this is important to me, no matter how high you get. So even when it feels like, oh, I'm big and people, I constantly remind yourself, you remember PCJ, you remember the prayers you made. It's not time to put it to practice.
Yeah.
Somebody wants to snap a picture. Can you smile well? You're hungry, smile well. So those are the things in my head. Can you open your teeth and you don't can you take the phone from them and snap it for them? So it's a conscious reminder. So it's not like I'm always subjecting myself to things that would help me stay humble. And I constantly remind myself, because it's easy to just forget and say, but it is what it is.
Okay, so just for aiding people in this that are like you and are also looking forward to doing what you do, what are those Christian steps that you take or you daily live out to keep you, of course, within check on and off the camera?
I try not to miss my devotion. Like daily, appear my devotion, study, pray. That, because it just reminds me. Then there's something I do. I just, Bible says pray without ceasing. I try to pray, as many times as possible. I usually would do an hourly prayer. So at the time that maybe like 10:10, when the times coincide, so I just look out for those times and I just say a word of prayer. And I've just tried to make that a habit. And that's just, me trying to, constantly stay in touch with God and communicate. And it doesn't even have to be that time. Just a deliberate effort. And like I said before, it's a language of the heart. When you're genuine with it, God knows.
All right, so just about the last question, and then if Irene has anyone, wrap up with it.
Okay.
The entertainment world is one of the 7 mountains of the society. So how do you advise people in church, and how do you also advise that the church also dominates that part? Also seeing the fact that a lot of people think it's so secular and they don't want to get into it because of holiness and because of the faith. So how do we navigate through it, also standing our ground as Christians?
like I said, it's an industry of wolves. You have to look like a wolf to take it. So we have to start breaking down those mindsets and imaginations and stronghold. Somebody's going to take it for God. Who will it be? It's so tough. It's so hard. Who will it be? And I spoke about excellence before. You will not be able to be influential in an industry where you're not excellent. If you're constantly just the guy in the background, you have to get to the top. For you to be able to say this is how things will be done in this industry, you need to have been able to get, just like Mrs. Bumi Awoshika is doing. You know, she is in the business and finance industry, and you see how impactful she is because she's excellent at the work. You know, so you cannot just come with, they give, as a Christian, they give you a call time of 9 a.m. and you're showing up at 10 and you want people to listen to you. As a Christian, they give you don't have your lines, you show up. So when you say this is what it is, who is going to take you seriously? So I think let's tackle the things that are really important. Kingdom values. Rather than saying, I cannot act in this kind of film so that you can feel holier than thou, can you be an excellent worker? Can you keep to time when you're given a call time? I mean, there are some films that are just for entertainment. They're not necessarily Christian films, but they will make people laugh. And that in itself is a ministry. Comedy is a ministry. Oh, there are films that they just, for people to even have something to watch at night. Yeah, let's just be pretty decent. I mean, it doesn't have to. However, there's a place for faith-based films in the industry. I don't know when this is airing. I have a film releasing today. It's called Tehillah. It's faith-based film. It's on Love Story Media. You probably want to go and watch it. It will bless your life. Anytime you see it, it's such a powerful film, and I cannot wait for you to see it.
Thank you so much for this chat. It was a pleasure chatting with you. I hope you actually enjoyed it.
It was really interesting, honestly.
Thank you for having me.
I was actually going to say something. I'm an Nigerian.
Hey, Nigerian, so yeah.
I don't miss anyone. But before we end, I just wanted to say, I hear you speaking so passionately about everything you're doing, your work, your walk with God as well. Where does the drive come from? At what point did you know that this is more than a career? It's a calling. Because the way you embrace it.
From meetings like this, from camp meetings, I mean, the impactation is not, once you get into those meetings, God will reveal to you. You know, sometimes you feel like you want to forget. He constantly, you know, that's why you have to drag yourself here. That's why you have to constantly expose yourself to those prophecies, those teachings, those things that you've heard. Once you stop connecting with him, you start losing sight of who you are. You know, so a prayer that we'll pray is that God will constantly reveal himself to us as he reveals us to us. Because the more you behold God, the more you discover who you are. Because we are made, you know, in his image, after his likeness. So we are God's. So as we constantly behold God, we see who we are.
But you can't keep everything to yourself. So are you mentoring the young generation that will take after you?
Absolutely. It's one of the hardest things to do. Okay. But yes, because of time, but I have a couple of boys that I'm mentoring.
Nice. Awesome.
All right, thank you very much for the chat. Like I mentioned earlier, it's been a wonderful chat in here on Spotlight on Gmtv with Stanley Ebuka Nzedio. I like the sound of that. And you popularly would know him as Stan Nze. Of course, he starred in the movie Rattlesnake as Ahan, right? As Ahan, and ever since then he's been the boss in the movie industry. And that is also to say that he is one man in ministry that is taking one of the mountains of the society, which of course cuts across the family, the education, art and entertainment, media, business. So which angle or which of the mountains are you taking to yourself? Of course, you let us know. Thank you also for being a part of the program. My name is Mira, and of course I have a co-host with me in the building, Irene. And until we see you next time, this is GMTV. Do well to follow us on all social media platforms at Pastor David Obweli and also Dominion City across the world, and check out our streams and also share the messages.
What a beauty to behold, such a wonder. We adore you, are Jesus. What a beauty to behold. You are my high priest. You are my Messiah. You are the one with eyes of fire. Oh, you are Jesus.
This is GMTV.